Remaining Rohingyas still being driven out of Arakan. Torching of deserted Rohingya houses goes on. Burma authorities use up local bodies to block the Rohingya repatriation process. Bangladesh wants a peaceful and durable solution to the Rohingya crisis. Sheikh Hasina. Ongoing terror forced starvation against Rohingya, says UN. Patrolling of joint forces on the border leaves Rohingya of Zerline in new fear. Rohingya Muslims describe a life of fear in Yangon. RNTv's special coverage of the dreadful experience of the bullet hit Saidno living at Kutupalong. And now the details. On 7th March in the morning, around 1,000 Rohingyas, including Rohingya men, women and children, have fled to Bangladesh. The fled Rohingyas are from Butidang, Ratidang and Situe. Our Arakan representative said the Rohingyas left their homes and started for Bangladesh due to torture of Burmese forces. The Rohingyas who fled to save their lives said the food items stored with them for the whole year finished. They don't even get fuel to cook food. If they go out for the collection of food or fuel, they return as being injured or dead or are permanently disappeared by Rakhine terrorists and Burmese forces. The babies have to spend their days with hungry stomach. Women have nothing to cook at home. The analysts think that Burma has grown desperate to eradicate the Rohingya in the name of the Rohingya repatriation. A safe and dignified repatriation is a far cry.
It is very difficult.
On 5th March, Monday, in the early morning, a house was set on fire at middle hamlet of Rohingya of Busidang in northern Arakan. Nobody knows the reason behind the sudden fire incident in a house without its dwellers, as it was evacuated the very moment when people fled to Bangladesh, being driven with the thought of survival. The local Rohingyas managed to extinguish the fire and thus protected other houses nearby from burning to ashes. Reported by RNTv correspondent, the locals assume that this sort of wrongful act is possible only by Rakhine miscreants. Despite Burma-Bangladesh repatriation deal on November 23rd, none can see the implementation as the repatriation of Rohingya has not started yet. Not a single person has yet been sent back to Burma from the exodus consisting more than 700,000 Rohingya genocide survivors who fled to Bangladesh from Burma since last year. On top of that, before returning, Arakan Buddhist hardliners started protesting against the repatriation deal. Burma is planning to settle the returnee Rohingyas in 6 places in Mangdu district of Arakan under the repatriation agreement, according to the US media Euro-Asia Review. On February 24th, at the meeting with the Burmese government in the capital Situe to show stance against the plan, 80 people of the Rakhine community representative raised their voice. In the meeting, the Rakhine citizens representative Swenang said, since the 1940s, violence has been happening among locals and the Rohingyas. They are worried about the safety of the local Rakhine community. He told the Euro-Asia Review, it is impossible for the two communities to exist when Rohingya refugees are rehabilitated there. Bangladesh government aims at returning the Rohingyas home who fled brutal persecution by Burmese army in Burma's Arakan state. Bangladesh wants a peaceful and lasting solution to the Rohingya crisis. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina said this at a joint press conference after the two-party meeting between Bangladesh and Vietnam on Monday, 5th March at the Prime Minister's office in Dhaka. She said, we are working so that the Rohingyas can go back to their country with safety and dignity. To resolve this crisis, the visiting Vietnam President Tran Dai Quang assured all kinds of cooperation to stay beside Bangladesh in the repatriation of Rohingya. Dear viewers, it's time for a break. We will resume soon after the break.
Rohingya National Television or RNTv, an online authentic voice and vision of persecuted Rohingya, strongly committed to broadcast the sufferings of Rohingya among the people of the world. You can watch our program in Rohingya, Bengali, English, Arabic and Burmese language. For getting updates on Rohingya, please like, subscribe, share RNTv programs and let know the plight of the stateless Rohingya people at YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe RNTv and stay with us. Rohingya National Television, RNTv.
Thanks and welcome again to RNTv weekly program, Our Week with Michelle. A senior United Nations official has described terror and forced starvation as evidence of ongoing ethnic cleansing of Rohingya Muslims in Arakan State, Burma. Concluding a 4-day visit to Rohingya refugee camps in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh this week, UN Assistant Secretary General for Human Rights Andrew Gilmore said the ethnic cleansing of Rohingya from Burma continues. I don't think we can draw any other conclusion from what I have seen and heard in Cox's Bazar. A number of refugees reportedly told Gilmore that Rohingya attempting to leave their homes or villages are taken away and never return. Abductions of Rohingya girls and women by Burmese security forces was a recurring theme, said the OHCHR, corroborating accounts of sexual violence and killings provided to the other UN agencies and non-profit organizations including Human Rights Watch. After the flag meeting between Burma and Bangladesh on last Friday, 15 trucks containing Burma's border guard police and military members were seen camped adjacent to the barbed wire fence of zero line of Thambru border on Tuesday morning, who have been patrolling along with the border. Security has also been strengthened by the Bangladesh Border Security Force in the wake of the presence of Burma's joint forces on the border. The presence of the joint forces again on the zero line has sparked fresh anxiety among Rohingyas who have been passing their sleepless night facing threats of Burmese police at zero point for the last few weeks. On 1st March, Burmese border guard had shot aiming at the Rohingya who are repeatedly threatened to leave the place. Having seen nearly 250 pictures of the so-called terrorist for 4 straight days last month, published in Burma's state-run newspapers, Rahimuddin, a 41-year-old Rohingya man teacher in profession born and raised in Burma's biggest city, Yangon, laughed, reported the Associated Press. The Burmese government is increasingly linking Rohingya across the country with what it calls a terrorist threat, Muddin and others say. Rohingya in Yangon describe a sense of rising persecution and hatred, of vanishing freedoms and opportunities, of modest neighbors and friends suddenly more willing to publicly express sympathies with the military's destruction of Rohingya villages in Arakan. One day it really could be my picture in the paper. The government can detain anyone, including me, it says, is a supporter of terrorism or anyone viewed as a threat to the state, says Muddin. Syed Noor, a genocide survivor, along with his family, fled to Bangladesh begging safety of the life. On the escape road, Syed Noor was shot by the brutal Burmese military. The bullet-shot hand is paralyzed and still can't catch anything using it. On 5th March, our RNTv reporter met with a Rohingya youth named Syed Noor, son of Muhammad Shafi of Shah Bazar in Mangdu, who has been staying in Amgastawa area of Kutupalong. Being asked about how long it took to reach Kutupalong from Arakan, Syed Noor said, "It took 14 days to reach Kutupalong since the day after leaving our house. It was monsoon when we were forced to leave our country only in a shirt. So the sun dried us and monsoonal rain soaked us in these 14 days. So it was a bitter experience of 14 days." He said on the way to Bangladesh they saw hundreds of dead bodies. Some are tied with ropes, some are slaughtered, some are deadly scarred with sharp knives, and some are burnt, remembering which still reminds him of the day of resurrection. Asked about how manage food on the way, Syed Noor said the elderly could eat food once after 2 days, They lived hungry for the rest of the time. To stop the crying of the young children, we used to give them food in some way. Sometimes we used to spend time eating leaves of the trees as vegetables. We witnessed many of the elderly parents' death in front of our eyes while trying to walk through the craggy pathways of slippery hill. Let's have a recap on the headlines. Remaining Rohingyas still being driven out of Arakan. Torching of deserted Rohingya houses goes on. Burma authorities use up local bodies to block the Rohingya repatriation process. Bangladesh wants a peaceful and durable solution to the Rohingya crisis. Sheikh Hasina. Ongoing terror forced starvation against Rohingya, says UN. Patrolling of joint forces on the border leaves Rohingya of Zirline in new fear. Rohingya Muslims describe a life of fear in Yangon. RNTv's special coverage of the dreadful experience of the bullet-hit Syed Noor living at Kutupalong. Dear viewer, you also may be a media activist through RNTv and may raise your voice for the Rohingya by sharing the reports, pictures and videos of the atrocities meted out upon Rohingya community by the Burmese government, its forces and Rakhine extremists. Please send your reports, pictures and videos of these torture and human rights violations to our email rntvnetworkarakan@gmail.com. Dear viewers, thanks for being with us. For more details and updates, log into our Facebook page with www.facebook.com/rntvnetwork and join us on Twitter with www.twitter.com/rntv3. Stay tuned with us. Allah Hafiz.